music festival in our region called Earth Frequency Festival has found itself at the centre of a racism controversy. Can you believe that? A music festival in Australia, in Queensland, at the centre of a racism controversy. This erupted after the festival put out an ethical artist policy. What the hell is that? Isn't this entertainment? It led to an Israeli act cancelling their performance and sparked accusations of anti-Semitism. The festival has since moved to amended statement and banned political protests aiming for a more inclusive approach. Why wasn't it there in the first place? Isn't that what concerts are about? People from all walks of life come together and enjoy a day out? To help us understand the impact of this controversy on the community and the festival scene, we're joined by who's been liaising with the festival to address the hurt caused. Let's get her on the line now. G'day, eh? What's going on? What's happening with this? Why is this happening?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Earth Frequency is a festival that has, for us, been a really beautiful place to come once a year, to really have fun, to have unity, love, to dance together in peace, and you just put the world's troubles behind us. And they put out a statement that was written, co-authored with a known anti-Israeli activist group in the Northern Rivers region who are promoting anti-Zionism. And they kind of got hijacked by BDS, basically. The festival got, hijacked by a movement that calls to boycott Israeli and Jewish businesses, academia, and cultural bodies. The statement itself had a lot of propaganda in it because it was written in a very one-sided way, and it was framing Israel as guilty of genocide, apartheid, using a lot of inflammatory and inaccurate information in there. And because of that, there was like a huge outbreak of anti-Semitism on all of Earth Frequency platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram. And eventually, the artists who were Israelis who were going to participate in the festival just withdrew their participation. They just didn't want to be part of it because they were...
Why would they?
I don't know if you heard about Boom Festival, which was happening right now in Portugal, where there was a plot to poison Israeli participants. Nothing was done about that either. And so it is kind of like a worldwide thing now where the BDS movement is trying to get through to this community, the music, the arts, and trying to boycott Israeli and Jewish artists. And it's pure anti-Semitism. And the problem with that is we really appreciate that Earth Frequency have sort of rewritten their statement and taken out a lot of political stuff. And they have said, everybody is welcome, regardless of your nationality, and they don't want to have any protests, and they don't align themselves with BDS. But the problem with that is that the result of the original statement had consequences. And the consequences are that there's a huge outbreak of anti-Semitism that's gone unchecked on the Earth Frequency platforms and beyond. It's had a ripple effect. So now basically BDS are using this as an example of how they can do this in other festivals. And what needs to happen is, Earth Frequency needs to take responsibility for what's happened.
And Earth Frequency need to read their documentation probably a little bit better as well. How have your interactions with them been?
Look, the organizer of Earth Frequency is a very dear man in our community, and we love him, and we have a lot of compassion for him at this moment. He has gotten into a situation that's probably way more complex than he was expecting. He caved to a very convincing campaign that was run by BDS. And what happens in situations like that is you can get a little bit, out of depth. And I think that's what's happened in this situation. And there is still a way forward from here. What needs to happen is Earth Frequency can now become either an example of how an event can get hijacked by BDS and cancel people and become a place of division, or they can pave the way forward for showing how a festival can really stay strong in their values and still promote unity and love and inclusion but also have very firm enforceable policies that ban political protests, that make sure that everybody is safe and that there's accountability. And everybody needs to be held to the same standards. You can't hold Israeli and Jewish artists and punters to one standard and not hold anyone else to those standards. I mean, currently there are DJs who are going to be participating in this festival who are blatant anti-Zionists who use their platform to promote hate and violence, but they're not being held to that standard that the Israeli artists were supposedly being held to by being asked to sign that they, don't stand with their country.
I can't believe this is happening in our backyard here in Queensland, or was happening. Before I let you go, is this story indicative of how life is for the Jewish community recently? We heard this week about anti-Semitic attacks in Melbourne and Sydney. And just earlier this week, we reported an anti-Semitic graffiti, a swastika being spray painted on the pavement outside Maruka State School. Is this indicative of life now?
It's pretty shocking. I really have to make sure that we always remember that it is a small and very loud minority that's doing it, but we shouldn't ignore it. Where pre the Holocaust, this is how it all started. Symbols and chants and anti-Semitic behavior was going unchecked and did not have consequences. And this is the problem, is that the government is always condemning, but nobody's actually
doing anything.
There are no consequences for people who are behaving that way. Anti-Semitism is hate speech. It's not just, people having freedom of speech. It has consequences, and it makes people who believe these things emboldened to go and act, like firebombing a synagogue, like attacking an Israeli restaurant. In saying that, I think the general consensus and what we know is that we are supported and we are loved, and most people aren't anti-Semites. Most people, love us. I've never personally experienced anyone being that way towards me, but at the same time, these things need to be nipped in the bud now, because it's already getting to the point where we are way too far gone, and people need to be punished for this behaviour.
Thank you very much. I hope the music festival goes ahead, and it's a nice, peaceful event, which they're meant to be, right? And I hope the organisers have learned from this. So appreciate your time today on 4BC Drive.
Thank you. I hope so too. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you for that.